My name is Mike Rogers, and I am a spiritual wellness coordinator. I'm a counselor. I am a husband and a father, and I'm a follower of Jesus. I'd like to introduce you to my wife and my son. My wife and I have been married almost 19 years, and my son is 14 years old. You probably won't see him on the video because he's upstairs sleeping. He had to take care of my wife throughout the night last night. And my wife has been very sick for a long time. It has gotten worse over the last couple of years. I'd like to share with you a little bit about her and how we came to this position. I'm sitting in a friend's home because we're staying with friends right now. We have had to move out of our home because of my wife's illness. We have had to give up everything we have because of the illness, and we continue to seek God's guidance on what our next step is. We felt that this video is one of the steps that He has asked us to take, and we are just trying to follow along in His footsteps. My wife Debra was healthy. In 2011, the summer of 2011, she was walking, running, swimming regularly, very healthy. And towards the end of the summer, actually in the middle of the summer, she got bit by a tick, but we really didn't think much of it. We live in the country, we were used to that. But by the end of the summer, she was having mono and flu-like symptoms, and nobody could figure out what was going on. And eventually, by the end of the summer, she was having trouble walking. She was having convulsions. She was having periods of time where she wasn't thinking clearly. And that continued to progress without being able to figure out what was going on until last January of 2013. She was completely bedridden. And at that point, that January, we were up every hour, every 15 minutes throughout the night, helping her back and forth. She was in a wheelchair to get out and do anything. She was finally hospitalized 3 times in 2013, January and February, and they were unable to figure out what was going on. She had severe abdominal pain, migraines, terrible headaches, convulsions, not thinking clearly at all. And as we prayed, God led us from one doctor to another until we finally got to the doctor who was able to figure out what was going on. She does have Lyme's disease, but it's complicated by other factors. She has metal toxicity. She has mold illness from being exposed to mold throughout her life. And she has extreme chemical sensitivities. We've treated the metals through chelation, and now the abdominal pain has subsided considerably. But in the process of helping her, we find that the house we were in, just as most houses in Michigan, have mold, allergens, and we ended up having to leave there this past January when she went in the hospital with pneumonia, and I knew I couldn't take her back. So friends offered this house. The doctor has told us numerous times that we need to find a home that is all hard surfaces, baseboard heat, minimal mold and chemical issues. Back in October we found that house, but I didn't have any money. I've spent over $36,000 this year on medical supplies, $3,000 a month, and I'll show you some of those things that we're having to purchase. But we found a house and we prayed about it, and I went to make an offer in October, and we had already accepted an offer. But my wife and I continued to pray, and this past January, early February, we were praying together, and we felt God telling us to pray against the giants in that land, in that house. And we did, and the next day I got a call from my realtor saying the house is back on the market. So we put another offer in, and a bunch of different things happened, but after talking with the owner, we told them that we were going to try and raise the money. Told the owner that we wanted to raise the money and get in there, but she would have to give us time to come up with the money. And she said, well, how much time do you need? And how much money do you have? And at that point I had nothing. So I told her that, and she looked at me and sort of laughed and said, well, okay, we'll try. The house is still available, but I have to come up with the funds. She's actually getting ready to put it back on the market if I don't have it within the next month. Maybe now it's time to explain a little bit more about the illness. One of the reasons that Debra has more problems than many people do is because of the trauma in her life, and she was in a severe auto accident. And during that auto accident, she had a kidney removed. She had liver damage and damage to her lung, and those are all parts of the detoxification system that a body uses. And so her body can't detox as well as most people's, so she's having more issues getting rid of the toxins in her body, as well as genetically. There's a certain genetic subtype, I guess 25% of the population has issues with mold and the toxins that are put off with mold, and my wife happens to be that genetic type. So that is why she's in the severe shape she's in. And because of the chemical toxins and the chemical sensitivities and the mold, at this point she's not even able to do the treatment for the Lyme's. And until we do that, that's just going to run its course. So maybe at this point it's time to show you where she's at and how she lives right now. This is where my wife stays. The chair that we had to buy for her is a leather chair. She is here 20 hours out of the day. She sleeps there. She eats there. She has her IVs and her oxygen hooked up to her the whole time. It's the only material that she can sit in that doesn't cause her problems. She can't have blankets on her because of the chemical sensitivities and mold issues. So she curls up in a little ball on that chair and sleeps there every day. Doesn't have blankets, doesn't have long sleeve shirts because she can't, her body can't tolerate them. My wife is losing her hair by the handfuls. This is what we sweep up on the floor here, in the bathroom, in the hallway, in the kitchen as we're taking her back and forth. It's coming out by the handfuls. These are the supplements and medications that my wife has to be on. Some of them are covered by insurance, most of them are not. This one on the right here, the cholestyramine, because my wife has the multiple chemical sensitivities, they have to do that at a compounding pharmacy, and insurance won't cover that. That's $288 a month. This one right here is about $1,200 a month, but fortunately insurance does cover that. The rest of these are all supplements for various things that my wife takes daily, and without them she starts to have more problems. Pay about $300 to $400 a month on just those.
My wife cannot be treated for the Lyme's until we are in a house which is free of mold and chemical irritants. The Lyme's disease is progressing. If we do not move her soon, she will not make it. Earlier I mentioned my wife's auto accident. Debra watched her mom die in this same accident. Our hope is that you will help us get into a home so my son does not have to watch his mom die. Please pray. Go to our website and donate. God bless.
Shaddai, all sufficient. Imagine